Hey guys, well, welcome back to the Tammy Hudson Pillar podcast. I'm so excited, whether you're on the podcast or you're on the YouTube channel. We're so glad to have you with us. And we are going to talk today about part 2 of self-respect. Last week, I talked to you a little bit about the crazy world that we're living in and how there really is a lack of respect for one another today. All the pressure that's coming from things like masks or vaccines or the election or politically where we are, we really have not respected one another, I don't think. And if you're like me and you're out in the world in the grocery store or kids' schools or even on a walk, there seems to be, to me, a sense of entitlement, of judgment, of shame in our culture today, in our society today. And I began thinking about where's that coming from? And maybe it's because we're not respecting one another, which led me to believe that maybe we're not even respecting ourselves. And I mentioned to you as a life coach, one thing that I work with a lot of my clients is just learning how to love and respect and honor ourselves. So last week we talked about ways we don't honor ourselves and where that might be coming from. But today, in this podcast today, I want to talk to you a little bit about how do you show self-respect? What are evidence of self-respect? How would I know if I have self-respect? And what are some areas in my life that I need to develop that? And I truly think that this is a great coaching session. You may want to share this with some of your friends that are going through some difficult times right now and how they feel about themselves. But I've said often that confidence comes from knowing who you are in Christ, believing that you are equipped with godliness and righteousness through a relationship with Jesus Christ, and you are to walk with self-respect, with confidence, and with the joy of the Lord. So let's jump right into some of the signs or evidence of really knowing that you do have self-respect. Number one, respect your convictions, your beliefs, and your values. Now, as we've mentioned through this series of paradigm shifts, and many of you know that's the series we're on right now. I've opened up several weeks ago with this new series called Paradigm Shifts, and how do I take my paradigms, my beliefs and presuppositions, my thoughts, how do I take those and how do I shift them? How do I grow? Maybe I need this paradigm shift. Maybe I need to think differently. So what you'll do with self-respect is you'll begin to say, how do I respect myself? But the first way you show it is you've got to know your convictions. You've got to know your beliefs and your values. And one thing I will tell you through this series of pandemic that we're all living in, it's made me stop and ask myself, what are my convictions? It's so easy to listen to somebody else's and to get into their camp, in their school, on their platform. But my friend, stop and ask yourself, what do you believe? Do you know when I start to be able to articulate and be in a conversation, whether it be with my family or my girlfriends, my neighbors, and I am smart enough and articulate enough to say what I think, what I feel, and what I believe, do you know that that actually shows respect for myself? That I have studied, that I have a conviction, and I can stand on it. That is one of the most important things you can do to have self-respect, is know what your convictions are, know what your beliefs are, and articulate them. Number two, respect your body. Now, my friend, this is so important because so many of us are not respecting our bodies. And I obviously feel this way very strongly because I'm a personal trainer and I love nutrition and I think it's important to keep ourselves physically healthy. But as we mentioned in our last podcast together, that's one way that you don't show self-respect, is to let your body just fall apart. So the opposite of that is you take care of yourself. You are physically and emotionally and spiritually healthy, that your body and your soul and your spirit, you're taking care of it. So do you have a gym membership? Do you have accountability? Are you eating healthy? You are the only one that can take care of your body. And when I talk about respecting your body, I don't just mean to eat right and get sleep and take your vitamins. I mean that you honor your body. Now, there are some people who use their bodies in unhealthy ways. And that might be you right now. You might be saying, you know what, I use my body for attention. I use myself to try to get people to look at me. I'm telling you what, you don't respect yourself if you have to dress in such a way or act in such a way for attention. Respect your body and don't use it in any way for anyone else but for the way that God gave it to you. And that was a gift to really house the presence of the Holy Spirit. So make sure that your body is healthy and whole. And then, well, let me give you this verse on that one because I love it. It's 1 Corinthians 6:20. For you were bought with a price. Therefore, glorify God in your body. For you were bought with a price. And that's a verse that always convicts me if I kind of get off balance with taking care of myself. Jesus Christ himself gave his life for me. I was bought with a price. I am to glorify God in my body. So that's just a verse that's very, I think, applicable to this point. Number 3, respect your environment, which we said before, your house, your car, your surroundings. How are you respecting the things that you have? You know, this is something that popped in my head when I was putting this together. Years ago, I'd gone to the gym and I was making an appointment with somebody. And this was in the day when we had calendars in our purse. And she opened up her purse. We were going to have a coffee date together. And she pulled out a calendar. And I'll never forget the impression it made on me because everything was so organized. Her purse was organized. She pulled out her calendar. I looked at her calendar and she had all of these appointments on it. Everything was in its place. And I looked at myself and I said, this is one of the most organized people I know. But what it did, there was like a mark on me. It actually made me think this woman's organization tells me a lot about herself. She respects herself. Everything about her was put together. And, I think what happens is many of us that are disshuffled, we walk into a room, we can't find anything. Where's that? Where's this? And I think we don't respect ourselves. And we don't respect the things around us, and it's evident in our appearance. So when I talk to you about this, the fact that you've got to respect your environment, which is your house, your car, your surroundings, just stop right now and be honest with yourself. Is everything a mess around you? Maybe you need to stop right now and say, I want to be more organized with the things that I have, my house, my home, my car, my life, my purse. Because you will actually be respecting yourself when you take care of the things around you. Just declutter yourself. It's so freeing. It's so freeing to not be burdened down with all the clutter of life. Number 4, respect your word. Respect your word. This is so good. Be a man or a woman of your word. If you say something, be honest. One thing, and I'm going to be honest with you, this is so important to me. I want to be a woman of my word. And if I tell someone I'm going to go somewhere, I go there. I don't try to look for excuses. I don't lie about it. I don't try to say to someone else, tell them I was with you because I forgot to go with them. Do you know the guilt that you live with when you lie is unbearable? And then before long, you start living these lies. So become a person of character. Become a person of your word. I respect myself enough to say if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And if I can't do it, I will tell you I can't do it. But that literally shows honor, integrity, and character, which also shows self-respect. Number 5, respect your boundaries. Now, this is a big one, and if you know anything about my coaching, I do a lot of work on boundaries and standards and how to establish boundaries in your life and standards. So boundaries are what you have between you and another person. Standards are what you have for yourself. So when I have a boundary and I say, I will not allow you to speak to me that way, I will not allow you to abuse my relationship, I will not allow whatever it is, it's a boundary that I have. I place the boundary. But a standard is when I say I hold myself to a standard, to a set of rules, to a conviction or belief system. Well, a boundary is what you have to have self-respect. People will value you less when they realize that you're spineless and that you're easily manipulated. I do not admire people that don't have boundaries. When I'm always having to rescue people because they're being taken advantage of, there's not a lot of respect there. Maya Angelou says, I love this, listen, never allow someone to be your priority while allowing yourself to be their opinion. Isn't that so good? Never allow someone to be your priority while allowing you to just be their opinion. Have boundaries and have standards for your life. Number 6, respect your time. Manage your time efficiently. We talked about this. It's organization, and it's the fact that, many of you know me, and I run a ministry, and I'm a coach, and I have family and grandchildren, and people will say to me all the time, how do you do it all? And I'm going to be honest with you. When they say that to me, I have to stop and say, Tammy, are you taking care of yourself? If everyone thinks that you're so busy and you're out there all the time, I don't want anybody to pat me on the back and go, how do you do it all? I want someone to look at me and say, Tammy, your time management is so attractive. I know that you're resting. I know that you're healthy. You have time to stop and listen to somebody. It's my responsibility to make sure that I have enough time to stop and listen to others, that I have enough time to develop the things that I love and the passions that I have, that I'm getting sleep and rest. Respect your time. Don't sell your time to anyone else. Look at your calendar, and are you taking care of yourself, and are you respecting your time? And then this one is really good. Respect advice. Do you have people around you that can speak into you? I have some really dear friends, and one of them I've mentioned before is actually in the studio right now, and she's one of my dearest friends, Lisa, and she speaks into my life. I've asked her, not only given her permission to, but ask her, tell me when you see me out of balance. Now, we have a relationship where she would always say, well, I hold you in such high regard. You're not just my friend, but you're my coach, you're this, you're that. Until she sees herself equally with me as a friend, she'll never have the freedom to speak into me truth. So if you admire someone so highly and greatly, you'll never speak truth into them. Make sure you have people around you that have the freedom and the ability to speak truth and life and take advice. You respect yourself when you have ears to hear wisdom in your own life. Number 8, respect your goals and your dreams. Make sure you have goals and you have dreams. Don't meet everybody else's goals and everyone else's dreams and not have any for yourself. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Who do you want to be? There's a sense of respect when I have an idea and I see it to fruition. As a life coach, I don't want to help everybody else achieve their goals and I don't achieve my goals. So I'm asking you right now, respect a goal that you have, something that you've always wanted to do, a dream that's always been in your heart, a passion that you've always had. You will have a sense of respect when you achieve your goals and your dreams. And then lastly, very important, respect your feelings. Respect your feelings. Now, I thought twice about sharing this one because we live in such a day of, I feel. Everybody's feelings. And so we live in this day of everyone's living on their feelings. So I'm cautious in saying this. Stay with me, and you know what I mean. But listen to your heart. If you're being taken advantage of, if you're being hurt, you're being harmed, if you're not valuing and respecting yourself, if you're not reaching your dreams and goals, listen to how you're feeling. Your heart right now will speak if you let it speak. Your heart will say to you, you need to step up. You need to stand up. You need to take inventory. You're better than this. Listen to what you're feeling. Let me give you a couple coaching tools as we close today. I mentioned it in our last session, and I say it often. Until you value and respect yourself, no one else will. You set the bar yourself for how people see you. Begin today to value yourself. When you say to somebody, how do I look? If you care more about how they think you look than you think you look, that's where your first problem is. Did you hear me? I shouldn't walk in a room and go, how do you think I look today? I should look in a mirror and say, Tammy, how do you look today? Because the way I see myself is more important than the way someone else sees me. I want to give you 3 things today that I think are really, really important. How do you see yourself? How do you speak about yourself? And how do you sell yourself? Number 1, how do you see yourself? As I mentioned to you, when you look in the mirror, what's the first thing that you see? We actually have a picture of ourselves. Now, if you're like me, there's some days I look in the mirror and I'm like, I thought I looked better than that. Yesterday, I looked so good. I looked so youthful. There's always going to be days that you look tired. There's always going to be days that you look better. You look good in a certain color, a certain outfit. But it starts with how you think about yourself. Now, stay with me. This is a great coaching tool. If I think in my mind that I look good, I'm going to see myself looking good. It always starts with how I think about myself. So I'll begin to say to myself, and this goes into our next one, I see myself, how do I speak about myself? If I say things like, I feel fat today, I feel ugly today, I feel old today, I'm in a season of life, and it's that season of my age where things, whether my skin or my wrinkles or whatever it is in my life, everything's sagging. And I begin to speak that over myself. I can't believe how I'm aging, which I've said that a few times recently and had to catch myself. I start seeing that. I start speaking it. There's a verse in the Bible and it says, don't curse the ground that you walk on. Don't curse the ground that you walk on. Do you know every step you take when you speak death over your life, you're going to live a life of death. Every step you take of life. So I say to myself, I can't believe how great I feel today. I can't believe all the good things that are happening to me today. I can't believe the journey I'm on today. You have to speak it over yourself. So you have to see it. You have to speak it over yourself. And then lastly, it's so important that you do this. You have to say it, you have to speak it, and then you have to, we said speak, we said see, and then the last one, I'm trying to get to my notes, is sell. You have to sell yourself. You have to sell yourself. And this one's really important because it's how people see you. Now, I've been in sales. Many of you have been in sales before, and you go in and you do your sales pitch. What if you're doing a sales pitch for yourself? Right now, how would you sell yourself? What would you say about yourself? When I walk in a room, it's often that I say, you know, I really have an ability to market that. I have ability to see that. I'm really good at putting this together. Can you walk in a room and sell yourself? So I think your assignment for today is to sit down and ask yourself, how do I see myself? How do I speak about myself? And how do I sell myself? There's a really good verse in 2 Corinthians 5:17, and it says, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creation. The old things have passed away. Behold, all things are new. Today is your day for the new. Today is your day to begin to work on you. Today is your day to have a good self-esteem, self-respect, self-worth. Begin to see yourself the way God sees you, for he did buy you with a price. I was reading in the Bible the other day, and I love doing my prayer walks and reading the scriptures, and there's a verse in 2 Corinthians 4:7, and it talks about that we are jars of clay. It says, but we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that all of this surpassing power is from God and not from us. Do you know that our body is just a jar of clay? That we are made in the image of God, and in him is the Spirit of the living God. Can I tell you right now that you have the gift of life? You have the gift of being a beautiful human being made in God's image. And he wants to work in you. He wants to love you. He wants to use you. That there's gifts and abilities and talents, that there's dreams and hopes and aspirations. That the Creator God that knows you so well and loves you so well has put so much in you. But until you love and respect and honor yourself, you'll never be all he created you to be. It has to start with you. It has to start with you embracing who God has created you to be. So in our remaining moments together, let me just ask you, can you ask God to show you what he wants for you? Would you start fresh with him today? Would you take a moment to pray, to walk, to dream, to believe, and let God use you the way you were created? I love you guys so much. I love being, again, your coach, your friend, hopefully your colleague on this journey of life. Please check out all the podcasts that we've done. Check out all the social media posts on Instagram or Facebook. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to connect with you. You can check out my website, TammyHotsonPillar.com. There's a place that you can actually email me, a tab on there. You can also check out our clothing line. There's a place there that you can check out some of our Respect gear, and we love our clothing line here at Women of Influence. Many of you follow us on WOI.today. Check out our ministry here with Women of Influence. But you guys, I'm serious about this paradigm shift. I've had to do it through the last 18 months in my personal life. I've had to go through some paradigm shifts. And I want to ask you right now, are there some shifts that you need to make in your life? And the most important shift is the shift into a relationship with Jesus Christ. So if you do not know him, and you've not had a personal relationship with the God of the universe that created you and loved you, let me just ask you right now to reach out to him in a simple prayer and just say, God, I want to know you. I believe that you are real. I believe that you came and you died on a cross and you were buried and you rose on the third day for me. I want to have a personal relationship with you, Lord Jesus. Come into my heart. It's that simple, to be born again, to know him, to be his child. And I pray that you've had that shift in your life. I love you guys so much. Stay tuned for more paradigm shifts and have a great day. God bless.